This video will leave no doubt that we are in fact in the end. My goodness, do I have a video for y'all. What do gematria, spiritual apparitions, sci-fi stories written 2 decades ago, man-made prophecy written hundreds of years ago, and ritualistic openings that opened the door for someone who just walked in, what's all that got to do with each other? Let's find out. So y'all remember a few weeks ago when I showed you that there's this UFO that was controlling a comment? I took the UFO, I enhanced it, made it big, and it's actually a lion, a giant lion in the sky. A giant lion like a Pope Leo. We're not even close to the crazy stuff, just bear with me, I'm telling you it gets deep. Then we had this thing happening at the time of the funeral, and at the funeral there are people there with these rifles that are anti-air rifles for drones or whatever. Do you want to know why? There was quite literally a fiction sci-fi story written 20 years ago about a Pope Leo, and he was the guy who encountered the aliens when they came down. Have y'all not been noticing the news over the last year 24/7 talking about this one thing? Both up in space and also under the ground we have these alleged aliens, and after the line in the sky and the apparitions in the sky and all that stuff, we all of a sudden have this Pope Leo, and he's the exact guy in the sci-fi novel that the aliens are like, hey, let's work together. Y'all gotta be freaking kidding me. But wait, there's more. Every single source there is was certain that it was going to be Cardinal Petrio, however you pronounce his name, but then all of a sudden, last second, it changed. And not just did it change, he took the name Leo as his title. Hebrew Gematria 250. Y'all ready for this? Pope Leo in Gematria for 250 literally means Peter. And it was none other than St. Peter Basilica, where the ritual was held for the Jubilee year where he opened the door. Peter, the Roman, America, the new Rome. And the door was just open for him. So it was not Francis, it was... Wow. And right before we got in, we had Mr. T post a picture as him dressed up as... You need to go back and watch my last 3 or 4 videos. It's getting absolutely insane. By the way, TikTok is playing. Can y'all see this on your For You feed? What do you think below? Was this new pope foreshadowed? And is there a strong prophetic parallel right in the midst of all of this? Let's see what I found. This is why you see the AI label on this video. Do you remember when this happened and I told you that this was a very symbolic sign of American power over the Vatican? And do you remember y'all's comments? Oh, he's just trolling. And now we have the first ever American pope. That's pretty crazy, right? What's even crazier is this. Every single person thought it was going to be Cardinal Petrio, that he was going to be the person. And people are alleging that they just switched him out last second so he wouldn't have the name Peter. Because the prophecy of the popes, the 112th pope be the last pope, and that pope was Pope Francis. But within that man-made prophecy, there's give or take room for one pope. Now it's worth noting that some people call this a medieval forgery, but I want to let you know there's no such thing as the medieval ages. That discussion is way too long for this video, but you really need to read the 1560 Geneva footnotes. Now why is this behind me? Okay, do y'all remember what happened in St. Peter's Basilica last year? I think it was like November, December. It was crazy, right? Please tell me y'all get it. He opened the holy door for the Jubilee year in St. Peter's Basilica. The holy door, maybe for Peter to walk through. And then we have Peter the Roman, America being the new Rome, you get it? And then all of a sudden, randomly, he takes the name of Pope Leo. I stood upon the sand of the sea. I saw a beast rise up at the sea, having 7 heads, 10 horns. Upon his horns, 10 crowns. Upon his head, the name of blasphemy. And the beast I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were the feet of a bear, and the mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, his seat, and great authority. And no, I'm not saying Revelations 13 right now. I'm saying it's very symbolically strong and a very strong parallel. The mouth of a lion, the spokesman, the mouth being the lion, Pope Leo being the lion, the spokesperson. In biblical prophecy, we see very strong parallels all the time. Things happen over and over and over again. But did you know if you open a 1560 Geneva Bible and go to the footnotes, they'll tell you exactly what this was with their profound knowledge that's been hidden for us today? Go figure, right? That books would hold the secrets that we're looking for today? And of course, I'm just speculating, but these puzzle pieces fit together very well. What do you think? So did y'all happen to get woken up at 9 a.m. as well and turn out to be an earthquake in Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina? Something weird actually happened in North Carolina. We'll get to it in a second. So I didn't even know it was an earthquake at first. Dog was barking, things were shaking, but look how far the aftershocks went. But look at the location. If you don't notice the location, I don't know what to tell you, but that's where Helene went, and that's where all the major storms have been the last few months, ever since Helene. But check out this right here. This was happening in North Carolina yesterday around the same exact area. Now, I've lived in the Carolinas my entire life for 31 years, and hail like this, especially happening this often, is not normal at all. But the crazy weather is not limited to the United States. They've been having hailstorms in Spain every single day, snowstorms in the Middle East and the deserts here, all sorts of crazy freaking stuff. It's almost like something weird's going on. I mean, this is insane. This was Asheville again, the direct place that was affected by Helene and all the surrounding areas. Just crazy hailstorms out of nowhere. Pretty crazy stuff. And by the way, there's actually been earthquakes every single day in the United States. We just had one in Texas, up north somewhere. Every single day we're having earthquakes. Who in the comments wants to guess where the next one's gonna show up in the United States? I guess Virginia. Bookmark it. Totally not coincidentally, we've been seeing very strange things in the sky all over the place. And by the way, this is not all. About to get into more in a minute. First, this looks familiar, right? We've been seeing these black rings pop up all over the place, but if you look carefully, it looks just like this from that movie, The Arrival, but like with this weird stuff going on. Y'all, that is just so close. And what I'm about to show you in 1 second, this will make sense. But why are they here? Arrival, and that same black ring that we have seen all over the place. And for the people that say Transformers, these things happen in the middle of fields with no wires at all around them. Maybe something spiritual? And about the same time in Colombia, we're having these weird things, these giant orbs fly through the sky, and science has no explanation for them. Like, y'all, what in the world is going on? Seriously. And again, that movie, Why Are They Here? Arrival, showing these half-sphere type objects. That is mightily coincidental. And they x-rayed that weird orb that just fell out of the sky by itself, the Booga Sphere. And they explain it as being a weird type alien artifact that has an inside and outside, not hollow, but different densities on every single part of it, and the x-rays look like that. But is this all related? Yeah, I'm sure it is. And of course, I'm just joking. This is just normal everyday things that we just started seeing a couple months ago. So are they here? Why are they here? Yeah, they are here. And all this disclosure is a game. And they can be seen right there. What in the world is going on? We have another person that blacks out on the news for no reason at all. They're just talking and in 1 second, boom, gone.
Ideology, or it's not about.
Oh my goodness! We're just gonna get some help here. President, we're gonna go to a break right here.
Do y'all remember what I just showed you like 2 days ago, where this congresswoman was talking about a weather ban bill in Florida that's right there, and all of a sudden she just collapses again out of freaking nowhere, you guys. Then I was talking about how completely unrelated, 1000% irrelevant, completely. Did you know there's a term called Havana? And if you think that's crazy, just wait until my next video, because it will change your life. Unrelated, of course. Mysterious illness? This is the video that'll change your life. For years now, I've had worsening chronic brain fog, as well as really lightheaded and just really zoned out. Not just me, but my wife as well. And although certain things do make it worse, like the Schumann frequency or the air quality outside, if you or your family relate, then this right here is the video that you've been looking for. But first, let me preface this entire thing by saying, I'm not making any medical claims, any diagnosis, nothing like that. I'm just telling you about me and my life and what helped my life. You know how TikTok likes to play.
South Africa. 25 miles northwest.
I'll explain this in a minute, but a few years ago, we started getting all foggy-headed, zoned out, all sorts of stuff, feeling really fatigued, all for no reason. Looking back, now I found out it happened when we went from the Note 20 Ultra to the S22 Ultra. But the S22 Ultra, unlike the Note 20 Ultra, actually did use where Note 20 claimed they did, but they didn't have an antenna for it. Follow me, let's get deeper. But while annoying, it was manageable. And then we moved and we upgraded our Wi-Fi and we got these new phones, the 25 Ultra. Y'all see that? What?
What?
But we didn't think about this yet because we had moved in and we noticed all of a sudden we were way more foggy-headed than before. And of course, I had my suspicions along with other contributing factors. Other things, and the Schumann frequency makes it worse, right? But I was like, what is wrong? Like, I feel so friggin' terrible every day. I can't sleep, never sleep. So I went ahead and bought this little meter, and this is on 4G. It's on 4G. It went up to 300. The Wi-Fi you just saw, the 6G Wi-Fi, went up to 1,000. So we made a change, and all of a sudden we've been feeling great, and I've slept 5 days in a row with not one single problem. Let me show you how to do that. First, only connect to Wi-Fi when you actually need Wi-Fi so it's not pulling it in your room where you sleep. There's a mighty big difference between like 100 megabytes per second and a gigabyte per second. So first, open your phone settings, and then you're going to go to the connections. It's very similar, should be on the iPhone. Then you're going to go to mobile networks right here. Allow something service. No, say no, no way, and it will automatically stay on 4. What I showed you at the beginning was the detection for the 4 and not the 5. The 5 is 100 times worse than the 4. Look, unless you're uploading high quality stream, this is 100 megabytes per second is plenty. For the most part, it'll even run your shows on your phone in 4K. And ever since I stopped using this and turned it from 5 to 4, I've had no problems and I have all the data I need. I couldn't turn this all the way off because of security cams, much like maybe you, but you can log into your IP from your router and you can turn it down from 6 or 5 to 2.4. Way better for it. Way better in general. I'm telling you, it's very much worth it. This will make a major difference in you and your family's lives. So make sure you let them know. Called out a fraud and the whole entire internet gets mad. Did y'all see what just happened? Do you remember when he said he's going into hiding because he's dropping the craziest stuff ever seen? I mean, really, it's not rocket science. Did you know last night he hosted a VIP Miami party? Yeah, it was covered by E! News. I thought he was going into hiding, y'all. Wouldn't that consist of hiding? And yes, it was surely his party that he set up and he was also there. Congrats, that guy right there on the epic rooftop party celebrating your new offices. Partying on the rooftop in Miami VIP is the opposite of hiding. Now you ready for the craziest part, how I knew? Notice the date. When I call people out, I'm always being accused of being on a certain side. No, there's no sides. It's us and then there's them. Circling something important. Okay, how'd I know? It's my job. I've been watching this for a long time. Do you know he was invited to the Grove and went? Sure did. There's a screenshot of an actual video which I cannot play, but he said, I was just a guest. I didn't see anything wrong there. I don't need to go into detail with enticing Moloch, do I? And all that entails. Look right here where he's shaking hands with this guy. Look at the guy's tattoo. It's a Baphomet. Don't get mad at the messenger. There's a great deception on the way. And yes, it is satire. Science was purposely created to hide God. Even further, science is Gnosticism, and I will prove it. And this great scientific debate goes back to the 1st century, earlier, and even the medieval ages. But let's start here in the 1st century. Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and the vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. Now this chapter is about following the righteousness in the words of Jesus Christ and his teachers, and not falling into the vain babblings and opposition that is called science, but falsely called science. The reason for this is there is a real science which you can prove with the scientific method, but what they have is a false religion science, which is the Greek word gnosis, which is knowledge and intelligence and understanding, but remember he said falsely so-called science. Now let's look at the word gnosis, which traces back to the Greek 1st century Hellenistic religions about the sun, the moon, the stars. Go figure, huh? And this is also where we get the word Gnosticism from, which is straight up religious ideas. And today, this man-made religion is mainstream. Because all this science today is theory, Big Bang, evolution, the theory of gravity, where it should be a theory of relativity and density, which isn't really a theory. Anyways, this is Martin Luther. Google hides exact quotes on this topic, but he called Copernicus and his astronomy model all the Antichrist spirit. And after this video, you now know it's a Hellenistic religion. And obviously, he was against Rome. Today's science is a cult of alchemy, divination, and sorcery. Does this seem like life just keeps beating you down? Let me ask you this. Is it possible, maybe not saying it is it possible it may be your fault? Look, I'm not against you, I'm with you, but let me show you the story in Joshua 7, when 36 of his men were unalived and he fell on his face not understanding why. Alright, like I just said, 36 of Joshua's men were unalived by the Canaanites, but Joshua did not understand why. Before this moment in Joshua, God would generally deliver their enemies into Israel's hand. But this time was a little different. It starts off with God's anger being kindled towards Israel because something they sneakily did. Get to that in a minute. And trust me, just wait for the point. A lot of times we don't realize that some of the stuff we're in is our fault. Okay, so after the death of some of Josh's people, he falls on his face. He's like, "Alas, oh Lord God, what's going on? Did you just bring us here to put us in their hand?" He's tearing his clothes and all sorts of stuff, saying, "God, I don't understand this." Have you ever been there? I know I have. He even goes as far to say, "I'd be just as happy on the other side of Jordan, not realizing how good he was about to have it." And God answered Joshua and said, "I have turned my back on y'all because y'all have taken accursed things and did things I told you not to do." It's almost like if we turn our back to the way that God said to live, it's like he'll turn on us and remove his hand of protection. Thank God for grace and mercy that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for the ungodly. So God tells Joshua, "Get up, tell them to sanctify themselves tomorrow and find the troubledoers and deal with them." I don't think people understand what the blood atonement of Jesus Christ was for. Sin is worthy of death and sin equals death. I'm glad we don't live in the Old Testament. So now it turns out that in their conquering, Ahan had basically stolen a bunch of stuff that he was not supposed to have. They're usually supposed to burn all the evil, wicked stuff, but he kept it all and thrown it in his tent. Some of these things were gold, silver, and Babylonian robes. And if you could have guessed it, the Babylonian robe is generally used to worship other gods and all their religious festivities. So if sin comes punishment, comes death, and I'm sure you can tell what happened with this picture. Rocks and stones were used and it was all set on fire. Sanctifying is no joke and it's usually done by fire. Maybe that's why we're baptized in fire. Sanctifying, purifying all this wickedness we have. So now, needless to say, Joshua, all the Israelites, everybody was scared of the judgment, of the punishment, of the stones and the fire. But God said, "Fear not, do not be dismayed," because from that moment forward, since they corrected themselves, God's hand of protection was back upon them. And so God had Joshua round the people together, they made a battle plan, and they conquered and took Ai. Which, funny enough, is spelled AI in English, and it's a heap of ruins. Kinda like these tech people know what they're doing, huh? So I guess the question is, do we have any accursed things in our life that God does not like, that he's told us he does not like, and we still decide to keep them? And if that's what it is, why haven't we gotten rid of it? And maybe that's why his hand of protection doesn't seem to be on us, even though he's protecting us from thousands of things we can't see. But is it possible, is it possible that the fire that we may be due to ourselves? But with sin always comes destruction. You might say to me, "Hey, what's an accursed thing?" Well, most y'all aren't going to like this, but most of the music these days is worshiping pagan gods. A lot of the TVs in the movie in Hollywood are worshiping pagan gods. And even gods of gold, money, and silver. As Christians, we are called to be set apart from the world, to be in the world but not of the world. And of course it can be difficult, but there comes a point where every single human has to choose who their God is. Even if that God is themselves. And by just obeying him, he'll bring you to a spacious place and will give you more than you ever thought possible. Y'all really believe that magic is a show, do you? You got a lot to learn. I'll be right back. He's eating real nails. And watch how a nail's gonna come out of his nose. He does this on the street in front of people. And I'm about to show you more in a second. So people think that this is like special effects and theatrics. What if I told you that contracts with demons go back to the very beginning? Don't believe me? Well, what is this? It was commonly known in the medieval ages that these people would enter into a contract with demons. The demons here then agree to be their slave as long as they live. But the catch is, when they inevitably die, and they will, the magician himself becomes slave to the very demon he made a contract with, making the demon their master. Eternally, forever. There are even many books on the subject. And this magic, spelled with a K, goes really deep. to even forfeiting your human soul to the demon of your choice for some kind of power. But you can't lose your soul. If you go to the grave serving demons, theoretically it's already gone. Not to mention the immense blasphemy you have to enter into. You didn't know there are people on this earth with actual powers? They don't really belong to them, though. They belong to the demons. It's funny to me Christians don't believe that, considering that King Solomon built the second temple by the power of demons. Let me show you some more witchcraft that's right in the open.
Shake it, okay? Shake, much more, shake.
Shake it.
Stop. Open the can.
What?
That's
Nothing.
explode, right? Wow. Because now CO2 is in my hand. Watch. 1, 2, 3, go.
What?
Whoa!
Stop being ignorant. They show you what they do. The word right behind me is a word for intimacy. Intimacy magicians. Y'all don't remember that Red Hot Chili Pepper album? The way that our society moves is in tune with magic, even if you don't know they're doing it. They even do it to birth certain people. We'll get into that tomorrow. If you're on Facebook, you can use that following button to turn on notifications so you'll know when I post.